Hello, welcome Smileys. Tonight we're doing the discussion of chapters 15 and 16, right? Yeah, of Forge of
Yeah.
Darkness by Steven Erickson.
Here, Forge of
Right.
Darkness.
So, since we actually did it last time, we remembered this is spoilers all, which means every book in the Malazan Mythos, which includes both Draconus books. So we're going to be spoiling Fall of Light and the rest of Forge of Darkness. So if you're spoiler averse, this is your please stop. Thank you for watching. If
No, if you're
you've
spoiler
read the rest of the
averse,
books, or if you're not,
Micro.
please keep going. And so, hello, Maura.
Hi, Lee. No, I just want to say that if you're spoiler averse, why? Why bother being
Yeah,
spoiler averse for
why-
a book like Draconus?
Uh, I don't know.
Okay, so chapter 15. How was your experience? Mine was pretty bad, as we know from the
Okay.
last recording. Yeah, it was
So,
not fun.
So chapter 15. The first time, like we talked about this in the main recording, but in the first episode, the first time I read it,
First, yeah,
there was that time, a feeling of dread, of impending dread, and which was the inverse here, because on 14 it's like, oh fuck, that happened, and 15 is the dread, and now it was the inverse. I knew it was coming in 14, I was reading it the whole chapter, and here like, okay, whatever, catharsis at the end, I'm gonna be fine. And I could actually read the chapter for itself, and it's a really good chapter. Who knew?
yeah.
What I did miss that you brought up, because I completely missed it is that the discussion between Cedarpool, Rise, and the others is actually a flashback. I didn't notice.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
He's always on the
other
tower.
than that,
Rise.
yeah.
Do you know something? Rise always rises to the tower.
Yeah.
See?
Other than that, and he walks in shadows.
He just says he's going to. I don't believe him.
Oh, really?
Unreliable narrator. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Other than that, yeah, I think. Well, I don't think you need me to tell you that the banter between Silgas and Skara is hilarious and
Skara.
excellent. It just deserves to be read again and again. Poor Duelas. And 16 has Dragon,
I think
which
these
if I don't have
guys
to
are
summarize them, yeah.
probably jealous of Tulas. You know. Maybe they're just jealous of him. Kagamata Tulas might be like a chick magnet or something. And these guys are
Maybe.
like, yeah. They feel threatening. I mean, yeah.
I'm
we
sure.
know, we know how.
Because nobody would lie with Sara Banderas or Silgas Rowan. Never.
What's your hashtag?
Not my captain. Not my captain. It's like, not my hiking, not my captain, stuff like that.
Yeah. I actually like not my blood eye because captain can be any captain. Captain Hout.
Yeah.
There's only one blood
I mean,
eye though.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So we should probably do a quick recap of the chapters. So, in case you didn't know, chapter 15 is. Do you want to do the honors?
Chapter 15 is Rake throwing a tantrum at Mother Dark and getting the Hust Sword. Then Rise and Sidorpul and Emerald bickering among themselves. We get a creation myth that the first heroes have drank Tiam's blood long, long, long ago. And we get the Jelek will be given to Tulas, which we have seen Tulas being,
The Master of the Hounds.
reunited with one of the Hounds of Shadows, and they seem to have a special bond and all that. So it's leading there. And another thing we see is Grison is present during the scene of Kadaspala and Rake and all of them at Anastasia's death site. And the most importantly we see, okay, before that, Grip and Hish have a thing going. It started here. The main crux of the chapter though is Anderist embracing grief and Rake embracing vengeance. So took way longer than 3 sentences. I usually do 3 sentences and this took way longer.
Yeah, I can't really
you
do
want
it
to
in
tell
3
me about
sentences
chapter 16?
It's pretty long.
Yeah, not 15 because it's structured that way. 16? Can you
They're
do?
difficult to summarize in 3 chapters, but I'll try. So Basically, you have Arathan and Korea separately, riding/walking, depending on your interpretation. One's walking, the other's riding, of course, obviously.
Oh God. See, you already failed the challenge.
No, I
No,
mean, it's still one
don't.
sentence.
Yeah,
Are
that is not fair.
riding/walking to the Lord of Hate. Period. Along the way, they meet different people with whom their companions/masters are acquainted with. Kilmandaros and Barandas. And
So three
in the
sentences
meantime,
done. And
Erastus has killed another dude and is making his tiles.
yeah,
And yeah, I've lost a challenge by now. I'm gonna keep going. And we get basically a long ride through the ruins of Jaghut civilization. A lot of monologuing, a lot of dialoguing, a lot of Jaghut humor, and Gothos, which is
and Hood.
And
No,
Hood.
I was
Yeah, we also get Hood.
I was much more impressed with Hood than Gothos. No, in this first visit in Carcanas. I don't know. Hood was much more impressive because uh, no, don't you think so? Because he just says that he's going to fight against the silence.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
it just stopped me. Yeah.
So that's
I
basically
no,
16. And
I
then
stopped you.
the chapter
Yeah.
ends with Arathan and Korea meeting. And for a chapter that's like 55 pages long, not very much
Yeah.
actually happens in it. Like 15 has actual things going on. 16 is just like they're riding and or walking, and they're fighting different people to talk with along the way.
No, but we get two very important things here. Two or three very important things in 16. One, we get to know that Erastus is becoming the master of tiles. Second, we have the Terundi, whatever that thing is now in the picture. And third is Hood has decided to fight death. So huge events are happening, but those are like one sentence or one phrase each. The rest is, there's a lot of build up to all these things. So right?
So that's the chapter. So we can actually start discussing now. Beyond, hashtag not my captain, because he's not my captain. We've already gone over this. So
I think
where do you
my
wanna
first
start
question
off?
for you is would you smoke those Ilbara leaves?
It depends. Not if they're fermented for a few centuries on the leaf, then probably not. But otherwise, maybe.
I think if I was as tired as her, I would probably do it. Why not?
I think if I had to put up with the Jaghut, I'd definitely do it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, so right, and we have decided this, right? Like Erickson probably made a mistake with verandas, and that's the only reason it comes back
Okay.
as a self-referential joke in Fall of Light.
Yeah.
Right. So unless it was like a double blind and he was.
I don't think it's meant to be
I
intentional.
don't think so
because
too.
it seems a bit, off, but it's actually pretty cool.
But you know what? We get like 14 Jaghut, or 15 Jaghut in the whole Book of the Fallen among 10 books. And there's probably like two female Jaghuts we see, that Aramala, Huntress, then
Well, there's the Ramala, there's the Hunters, there's Phyllis, there's
Ganath.
Ganath, yeah. thank you.
Ganath, and Verandas. Not many,
That's 5.
less than 50%. Yeah, and we get this huge one. And there is no scope for what do you call ambiguity here because he shows up naked. So
Shows up naked with like his lower half of his bangs was hanging out, which is if it's meant to be symbolic, I'm not picking it up, so I'm just gonna say it's just eccentricity to the Jaghut.
I think it's just they're not bothered about such things. Like they've given up
I mean, probably.
civilization. Why would they bother about clothes and
True enough.
And he has like battle scars. So Verandas is not like some silly old dude just hanging around naked or something. He's a warrior, right? He's
Yeah, I mean,
done his share
everyone
of
is really.
fighting. Yeah. And here we start seeing the conflict, right, between the dog runners and the proto Imas and the proto Jaghut. This is where the conflict is beginning, because some people like Raist have probably started their tyranny already.
Yeah, Yeah, Olar told us this earlier, but yes, like we now have
Who told
confirmation
us?
now from Draconus, Olar Ethel,
Okay.
which okay, she might be
Yeah,
lying,
yeah.
but Draconus believes her. So
And Draconus is the smartest, charist,
I'm not going to
goodest.
question
Yeah, yeah.
Draconus in this matter, since he eventually does prove to be right. So maybe even if he's wrong, broken clock
Yeah.
and all. Um, yeah.
So, one thing. Now, how is the four rule Asil involved in this Jaghut Imas conflict? What is their role? No,
There
they don't
isn't
have a role,
really
but
one.
there isn't. But why does Kilimandara say something like, I would whisper things in my children's ears and, make them fight or
Yeah, so
something
can
like
go
that?
kill the fucking Limas. That's what they do, right? Whenever they would come upon like Atlan, Mas, and Jagged fighting, they would adjudicate the situation, which was akin to killing both parties. So
Both sides.
that's
Okay.
basically what the
Yeah,
Forkle
yeah.
did, and that's what they try.
Right.
They almost do in a sale too. It's like we can kill all of you and be done with it. It'll be simpler.
Yeah. Just imagine if law worked like that, like court systems work like that. You accuse someone, and isn't that? Don't we get such jokes in like Malik Wells' Empire? That if
Yeah,
two
and there goes the
neighbors
Willy.
have
Yeah. Like
they
some
fight
magistrate
over
from
a
another
tree or
part of the empire.
something,
Yeah.
and
So just burn
yeah,
the whole thing down and like move them apart to exile halfway across the
something
empire.
like salt the ground and then chase both of them away, right? Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when
So,
two,
so
like
does that
two
mean?
idiots ended up living against one another, and now we remember the situation. Yes, go on.
No, does it mean like the Malayan Empire is going slowly towards the Forulkan type of justice system? Like this Malayan laws, Malayan, what is it? What is it favorite quote? Malayan justice and Malayan justice or something? You're trying so
I
hard to
don't.
resist, but you know that
I don't like.
it's
I don't
probable.
know.
It's
Look, I
possible.
asked Steve. I asked Steve about this. About like one
Okay.
particular aspect of Muslim law, and he basically told me that no, that's stupid. The question is more general than that. So
No, but you
maybe,
asked,
and that's as
no,
far
your
as I'm going
question,
to go into
no,
this.
no. Your question, to
Maybe,
be fair, you
maybe.
wanted, you're not going to let me explain that. Fine, we'll forget it.
It's not a
Let's move.
discussion. I'm like, okay, I've read Witness like a year ago. I don't remember shit. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. Not that. The question you asked Steve was something like, will Lassine be prosecuted, like posthumous prosecution or something? Wasn't that the question?
Yeah. Yes.
Because I think Spindle is the guy, right? Who's the one who shows up in
Yeah. Yeah. Spindle.
Witness?
Yes.
Spindle, right? So Spindle is the one who says that posthumous, they have all this, they're able to do retrograde justice.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah.
know why
Which
you
is
wanted like Lassine to
stupid.
be prosecuted or something.
Because it's like Malik's vengeance, right? If I took your empire and then I convicted you as murderers in said empire, I don't know, that'd be like cool, but that's not what Malik's trying to do. We got off track. The point is, maybe I don't know, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that's what. So we have decided that the Furulkan may or may not have a role with the impending Imas and Jagged conflict. So
Hmm.
let's keep it there. Who was Kilimanjaro's fighting when she came and met
No
them?
idea. No clue.
Why was it like such a big deal? Like she was walking through thunder, smashing down towers and all that, and was she just angry with Grison? Maybe.
Presumably, I mean, we've seen Kilimanjaros do the same thing in like Reaper's Gale, right? When she gets spaced, she just like starts beating the shit out of things.
No, but there were like dragons there. They deserved all that. No, 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 no. I'm not
Oh,
disputing that.
right.
Here there was nothing. Just they probably looked at her funny, and it's not
Probably.
correct. They can't. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so I don't know. It's if it is in the books, I don't remember it. If it isn't, shrug.
because the whole thing, I don't understand. Like all of a sudden, Verandas has a huge hole in his backyard, and you said that it is somehow connected to the house which they see.
Mm-hmm.
The one Erastus collapses, like he throws
Mm-hmm.
half a mountain over it or something.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know. Does it come back like in the next chapter or so? Like the Sech and
I
Erastus
haven't
crawl through? No.
read that far. No, I mean, Erastus and Sedge leave and they don't appear again, Draconus. So,
Is this it?
yeah.
Really?
They leave for the High Kingdom and they don't appear again until presumably Walk in Shadow when we actually get to see the High Kingdom.
That is so good. Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Maybe Erastus is the one who nudges the hiking too. Stop
That would
bothering
be
the Dice
really.
and the Jagged.
I think that would honestly be a bit like disappointing. Like if I just Erasmus is behind Calor too. I don't know. I wouldn't like that.
You wouldn't. I would like that. Yeah, because we already see that Erastus thinks that Draconos and Krull might join hands and come and persecute him. So instead of him, what if they target Calor, thinking that Calor is behind everything, though actually Erastus was the one behind the scenes? Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah, not
I
convinced.
mean, the
Doesn't matter.
timeline is already fucked enough as it is, right? Because
Who cares
just
about the timeline? Yeah,
not gonna bother with it. Yeah, it just things happen as they do. Whatever.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's about it for Rastas. So yeah, I think because they talk about like a bit of humorous sense, like they stare into the hole, like where did this go? I have no idea. Okay, well, and then like
And then they
the very
study
next
it some more.
scene
Yeah.
is like yeah, they study some more, and then the very next scene is like, so Rastas, where did this Earth come from? No, I have no idea. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
maybe.
I imagine they would open a portal and then throw a hill onto it, maybe.
So now let's talk about some hard stuff, and then we can go back to some fun stuff.
Ooh.
The the parallels between Ernestia's death and Carish's death,
Mm-hmm.
and who is being wielded as a weapon as a direct result of these deaths. Ernestias transforms Rake into this sword of vengeance, and here with Carish, Draconus wants to be there, but who doesn't allow it, right?
Yeah, he gets slammed down.
Yeah, I mean,
And Draconus actually sits down for once.
in a sense, Jagged have a much better way of expressing their arguments than, say, Anderist. They're both
What
grieving.
more sort of argument would they need?
Whatever
Rake
argument
just
who'd used
Rake just
worked.
dropped his brother, crying over the body of that woman, like saying, "Please stay with me and don't go seeking vengeance in my name. I need you." He's like, "No, I'm gonna go out and then I'm gonna fucking like kill some fools." It's not
No,
about
that's the
argument. It's
way
about
he's
Rake being an
dealing with
asshole.
his grief. That
Yeah,
is,
and Rake's
see,
being a
that's
dick.
it's not. I mean, it's Rake's way of dealing with his grief. Like, he's already had a run in with his mother, who's not allowing him to do anything. At least he got a chance to be useful. I wouldn't really blame him that much for this
I would.
overreaction.
I do, and I will.
Fair. Yeah.
Is it an
But
understandable
yeah,
reaction? Yes. Is it? Does he still bear guilt for it? Yes. Is he still a dick over it? Yes.
no, I think we already said this before, but I don't disagree with you, but I find the notion disagreeable.
Push and disagreeable. Yeah. Um. I mean,
Yeah. So
if you think a bit more holistically about the whole thing, what does Rake taking up arms to go, find and punish? I guess the Slayers of Anestia actually do.
I think he mopes around, as far as I remember. He meets Kaladin
So
Brood and they drink wine and do
yeah.
nothing. And they
So
meet Orphantel somewhere in between.
Mother Dark
Orphantel or
asks
Rennek?
him.
Sorry. Yeah.
Rennick. It's Rennick.
Okay.
So Mother Dark asks him not to take up arms in her name, and he's like, "Okay, fine, I won't." And then Andorist asks him to do the same by naming his sword Grief. Like, no, I'm gonna need vengeance, and I'm gonna go kill fools because yeah. And then he goes off
Yeah.
into the woods to find like Canada to make an "Am I the asshole" post. Like, am I the asshole for not letting my brother? Like, okay, cool. But
Yeah.
what if instead, Anamander did as Mother Dark asked him to, and didn't actually take up arms at all, and instead sought peace by, making the necessary arrangements with the people in charge, because no one apparently in Girl Galen knows what communication is, and no one actually wants to talk to one another, instead of just,
Excuse me.
more people are dead
Excuse me.
now. Yeah? Yes?
What are these arrangements you're talking about? Don't use vague terms like that. What was Rake supposed to do? What do you think is the necessary step to ensure that there is
Okay.
peace?
If you're going to go and say, Alexander isn't behind this, but I'm not going to go tell him anything, or ask him, like, what the fuck are you doing? And the only person actually culpable for the whole thing is Ral. And when like Selkas talks to Skara, whose troop actually did the whole thing, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and find them. Bye now. Like, okay, Skara actually goes on to find them and like do things, but they could have followed through and made actual arrangements by saying, "Hi, your soldiers did this. Please bring them to justice." Actually, though, before a war starts, please.
Yeah, but who would pass these judgments?
Why would
Who,
we need to pass judgments?
like, say, okay, so Rake finds out that it is Kara's troop who is doing all this. What would he do? Would he go on? He's supposed to like kill all those soldiers, imprison them, send them back
You
to the
know,
legion,
okay,
disband them?
maybe, sure, why not?
No, no, no. That is not the answer. That's what I'm asking. There is no concrete way of finding peace. The way the Mother Dark expects is to just, ignore everything. Let
No,
whatever happens happen.
no, 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 no,
How
no, no,
does she
no, no, no,
expect
no, no.
peace to be
It's not
one then?
ignore everything. It's the whole needs to be created, okay. But the point is, if you just let the whole thing fester, and people are going to die, and if the whole thing is, oh, I'm just gonna let everyone die, and then eventually it'll be peace. No, that's like Kalaska's interpretation of, in darkness there is peace. In darkness we can get on with things. What Dark is saying is, please find a way to bring peace without drawing a weapon, by being an adult, by talking to people, by making arrangements. Like, find your Sander, talk to him, like, say, oh, by the way, this guy is committing horrible atrocities in your name. Oh,
Can,
that's cool. Can you do
can,
something
I,
about it?
can I say that Mother
Yes.
Dark was, I think, best described by Emerald as an idealistic, idealistic romantic woman, because that's what she's asking. Find peace somehow or the other. Just don't use weapons. How would law work without the threat of violence, without oppression?
Is that what the discussion we're going to have now? Like, threat of violence and whatnot? It's not about the
I'm
threat of
just saying
violence. It's
that
about
that is
averting
what.
civil war.
No, see, I sound like a legion apologist now, but the thing
Yeah.
is, you need some degree of violence to ensure peace. There's no going around it.
Okay.
There's no getting around it. Like, if you stopped imprisoning
Sure.
people, do you think crime will fall? It won't. Violence, as in any
I
sort of
think
violence. I'm not
I
saying that.
think we're going from, like, doing absolutely nothing to, oh, we're just gonna let them go. No, I'm not saying we should just let them go, but we should actually do something beyond. I'm just gonna go start killing them alone,
So,
and then mope in the forest while my brother dies and grieves about it. Like, can we like talk this out with the actual responsible parties? Because what everyone does is, like, after this, Sharinas then writes to Draconus and says, okay, by the way, guys, we're not responsible for this. Bye. And then Skara goes to Vanish too. It's like, you guys did bad things. You guys are terrible. I'm leaving now. Bye. Like, no one is actually taking responsibility. Nobody. Nobody's seeking to meet our responsibility. No one is seeking to meet our blame. And no one is actually taking on responsibility. And the only person who actually has responsibility isn't doing shit about it. Because on the
yeah,
one hand, you have a Sander who is somewhat responsible because it's his soldiers doing it, who isn't doing anything, and the other person as well who's like behind the whole thing. So of course he would be okay with it. And rather than,
yeah, yeah.
seek those people out and say, what the fuck is up, guys? Gonna be like, fix this? Like, oh no, I'm just gonna, we have a 3-way religious war now, I guess. Okay, that's cool. At least I can draw a weapon now and not feel bad about it.
Which, I mean, he has a new shiny husk sword.
Oh yeah,
Let him
okay.
use it. Yeah.
Sick.
Right. So yeah, that's fine. That's fair. But
Which,
I wouldn't blame
since
Rake
you
too
brought up
much
Karish,
because
right? Let's look. What does
yeah,
Hood
yeah.
do? He doesn't go to Draconus and say, no, I'm just, bye. Like, yo, yeah, my wife's dead. I'm gonna go wage a
Hood's
war on death
reaction.
now. Bye.
No, it is Hood's reaction and Anderis' reaction are exactly the same, because Anderis doesn't blame just the hand which murdered Anestia. Anderis
Mm-hmm.
blames like the entire thing, right? It could be anything. It could be just
Mm-hmm.
battle lust. It could be some childhood traumas and so many other reasons. And Hood also doesn't hold the murderer culpable, right? He doesn't care. Someone murdered someone. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. But why am I left with this silence? That's all he wants to fight against, right? They have the exact
Mm-hmm.
same reaction. It's just I think Ander is just too young, and Hood is old enough and mature enough and smart enough to handle grief in this type of way.
Are we victim blaming right now?
We're not victim blaming. We're just saying
Are
different
we
reactions
saying?
of grief are not. These are all normal reactions to grief, and I'm just saying that Hood handled it in a way which is consistent with someone who is that old. Stop giving
I
me
mean,
judgment.
no. Like, what I mean is, this isn't about Hood and Anderus. This is about Rake and Draconus, and one of
No,
them,
I am
like,
talking
not
about these two
being there.
people. I'm talking about the
Yeah.
way these two guys handled the death of the love of their lives, right? They both have the same reaction. But Hoot goes one step further. Like somehow he's able to convince Draconus, and I think it's more to do with Draconus and Rake than with them themselves. But
He's able to
their
convince
reactions are the
Draconus by
same.
telling him to fuck off. He straight up
Yeah.
tells him to fuck off. Don't take up arms in my name because you don't have the right to do so.
You
And
know
neither
what
does
else is the
Anamander.
difference? You know what else is the difference between these two? Cadaspella
Draconus
blames
is like
Rake for.
eons old.
Wait, please
Okay,
wait.
that might also be.
Okay,
You know,
you're like, I'm not being ageist here. Is that where the argument is going? Sorry, I didn't notice. So the thing is, Cadaspella blames Rake for NSDS death because he was not there.
Mhm.
Here, Draconus is directly culpable. He was the reason
Yes.
why this happened, right? But still, Draconus decides that let me not do anything about it. Let me just sit down. And Rake, though he is not responsible, he decides to take it upon himself and take revenge. So I think that's a big difference. Rake doesn't want the suspicion on him. Probably that's why he's overreacting. No, does it make sense?
I don't know. I mean, I agree, but that doesn't change. I don't disagree, but I find the notion disagreeable.
No. Right. So, anything else? Do you want to talk about how can we live in a society of only high bonds?
So I mean, just go
Very
back
Trump way
to
to
the book,
phrase that.
chapter 15,
Yeah.
and read it, because I think Hish plays it out pretty well. I don't think her conclusion's correct. We went over this on the summary episode. You disagree with me somewhat.
Yeah.
I don't think Hish is correct in what she says. I think the person who actually comes close to the proper, I guess, manner of seeing this is Karaspala. But obviously, Karaspala isn't available anymore. So,
No,
Hish,
I just want to correct you
yeah.
in one thing, that there are no
Yes.
correct ways of looking at these things. They just align with your views. Can we be clear on that?
Okay.
Is
I
there
guess they
an
do align with my
objective
views.
correct way to do?
I think the objective correct way is like the humanistic way of not, having, oh yeah, by the way, these people are going to be like trash of society. They're going to be outcasts, but it's okay
No.
because
All
at
I'm
least we
saying
make-
is she's
Yes.
aware of her privilege. She's victim of that system,
Mhm.
and she
And
doesn't
she
know
doesn't
what to
wanna
do
change.
about it.
Yeah.
It's not about wanting to change. She doesn't know what to do next, right? She's already bridging the gap by getting together with Grip.
Right.
must be-
Which, of course, compared to someone like actually going out and living with these people is, it's a start, I guess. It's what people
It's
call
a
like.
start. That's what I'm saying. So
I
you can't
think
say that she is wrong and Kadaspala is right because he mingled
I
with the
can.
deniers. Eh,
It's literally
it's not.
like
It is not an objective
Or-
truth. That's all I'm trying to
it's
say here.
bordering on virtue signaling is the problem. It's like
Who is Kadaspala the virtue signaler by being white knighting the deniers in their huts?
is
Don't you
Kadaspala
want
the
to see
virtue
it that
signaler
way?
by actually going and living with these people and like talking
What
with
was
them
his
and
motive in living with
interacting
them? Do we know? He's just
Do we need to
interested
know?
in the art. Is he even interested in them as people?
Yeah.
He just wants to see their
Isn't that the
beadwork,
point?
maybe. Why
Oh,
is
yeah,
that the
I mean,
point?
that's certainly it.
No, seriously. Is he looking at them as people, or is he just looking at them as one way for him to indulge in his artistic whatever?
I don't think Kadaspala cares about the artistic thing. I think he views the argument holistically. Art is just a conduit for him to engage with life.
No, I'm just
gods of color
making
make
arguments
reality.
here. All I'm saying is he has a way of dealing with this. Hish
Yes.
has made a start, and she has a different way of dealing with
Hish
this.
has accepted, oh, I'm so helpless. Woe is me. Oh, look at that money I have. Oh, never mind. It's fine. Whatever. Let's let these people die. Not my
Not
fault.
fair. So not fair.
Not fair. Really. Okay.
You are being extremely unfair with someone who is actually trying to make changes.
Yeah,
And
I guess I am.
Are you gatekeeping humanism? Like, unless you're all in, unless you can do everything you can possibly do,
Then
don't
get
come into
out of the fucking way.
how is she in
That
the
is
way?
the main argument I've heard from this from people. Oh god. Well, following some extensive technical issues and some extensive argumentative issues, we have decided to drop the topic.
Yeah.
So, for all purposes, campuses, we have agreed to disagreed on Istula and Kalaspala's treatment of Gorgalane's class society, pending research, because none of us is particularly qualified to talk about it, and it's basically just talking above one another. So
Yeah. So what other
that
interesting
aside,
topic do you want to talk about next?
Draconus and Hood. God, I don't know. There's a lot of shit.
Okay, look. What do you think of? Uh, oh my God! I think we're done then because we stopped arguing. It's like the Jaghut. Once they finish their arguments, they have nothing else to talk about.
They have no idea. I'm done. No. So one thing we tangentially touched upon on the other recording was the relationship between holds, styles, warrens, stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we know from Pull of Light that Cruel embarks on a quest / journey to create his warrens and to anchor them with length. So it kind of depends on how you define what a warren is. Like, is a warren a realm / thing of sorcery which is angered by some dragon and is aspected to it, thereby? Or is a warren simply the magic that stems from Cruel's blood?
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's the former, then holds did indeed probably, or rather the tiles, because we haven't actually seen holds be created per se, but the tiles did indeed precede formation of the warrens. But if it's the latter, then the warrens pre-existed the tiles, and so holds kind of slot in somewhere weirdly, because if warrens exist already, and we don't have a reason to have like something more, crap, right? If sorcery that we can access is already refined to the point of a warren of like, okay, everyone who's capable can access this. It's not very dangerous to the user. It's powerful enough on its own. We don't need to go back to 2 generations ago, where it might blow up in your face if you fuck up.
No, it's like, so I've not thought this deeply about warren magic and all that, but I'll just tell you the way I understood it. Oh, you have. Let me just tell you about how I have understood it. So, magic exists in this world, and Azathanae are the only ones who can use it. These magics are unaspected. They're just like floating around in the universe, and they can access it whenever they want. And it's all, sort of like the Imas working with stone tools. They're all unrefined, but these are the only ones who can actually use it. So that's usable magic, only limited to the Azathanae. What Krul has done is, the way, for some reason, I keep thinking that it is like his own blood vessels which form like each warren, because I have a very distinct image from my first read that it's his own body and the flow of his own blood which forms all the warrens. So I thought that the flow is like within the body; it's not like bleeding outside or something. So regardless, Krul has somehow organized the wandering holds magics into stable, steady houses and warrens, right? So that's what he has done. And still these guys are still using holds because Azathanae can use it easily. And that's why Erastus is pissed, because warrens can be used by people like the Teist now. And so what Erastus does with the Teist is he's trying to impose order using someone else's blood on the same magic system. He's trying to be like a rival to Krul. I'm saying very obvious things. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to say it. So that's what he's trying to do. And because Krul then decides that he needs dragons to further solidify this, so that basically warrens and all these things are like against chaos. If there is no aspect, if there is nothing, then all these warrens will slowly dissolve into chaos, because what I understand is chaos is the thing which exists in between all the warrens. So that's why he needs to find a lane and have them guard it, have them control it and keep it safe. So, so that's why hold magic might predate warren magic by many by eons probably. But the only difference
Right.
is after Krill created the warrants, only then Erastus decides that he needs tiles. So tiles came only then, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I've
Sounds good.
understood.
Yeah. So, obviously, Fall Flight goes into much deeper depth about this.
Okay.
But the problem is that neither of us remembers. So, I'm inclined to agree with that explanation. We will leave. Well, I will leave a link to a particularly interesting essay by some fellow whose name I don't remember. I think it's Alejandro or something. I think he's like an actual
Oh,
academic, so he's much more qualified than us.
okay.
Um, so we'll leave a link to that if I remember, hopefully. And because that will have more information, much more succinctly put, more condensed than we either of us could say because we don't remember.
Okay.
But as far as Forge of Darkness, as far as like this chapter of Forge of Darkness is concerned, this is what we understand. So I'm fairly inclined to agree.
Okay. That's good. So we found something to agree upon. Good.
Yeah, I guess.
So right.
How
So that was
lame.
Krill's. Yeah. Anything else you want to add in
Disagree a
that?
lot in the chapter. Oh boy.
What else did you disagree? I don't think so.
I mean, we could talk about for hours about like Raisarat and Emerald and how that speaks to their character and how they interact with one another, but the difference, I think, the stark difference between someone like Emerald and Rise compared to others like Cedarpool or Centaura is what Galen has brought up before. It's conviction.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing more terrible than conviction, because like Sagander, who is has anchored his convictions, and nothing can move him, legs or no legs.
Yeah.
The same is more or less true of Centaura, who is vain. Her faith is easily assailed. They call her venal. I'm not sure if I agree with that assessment, but whatever. She is easily seduced by power, at any rate.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like Emerald, who's not only old, and as we've already established, Coral Gillian has a bias against wrinkles.
Yeah.
They're ageist. But also as Harat, who has, he is a student of history, but not in a traditional sense. History is in every moment. It's not just a vague sense of, oh yeah, past lessons unheeded. No, we're going to mock those past lessons because they weren't heeded, because no one listened, because no one cared.
Yeah.
And so I think it's contemplation of suicide, of like, okay, I'm just gonna go, if I'm going to jump off, I'm just gonna jump off into the river because I don't want my life, my life to be like an unheeded lesson. Just jump in, take me away. I'm just gonna be like inconsequential, meaningless. Which is, Rise is like pretty. I don't know if he's depressed per se, but that is a very nihilistic approach. I think of I don't think life has inherent meaning. I don't view people as like individuals, but like how meaningless their lives are. Like, god damn, dude.
No, actually, these things, it makes me want to read up on like real historians, like our world historians. There must have been some inspirations to write these characters, right? Like, I have no idea. I've never read about any like proper historian or anything. But now I feel like I want to look up.
Coral Glenn is interesting in that regard, in that like the historians of the realm are not like Duiker, right? Who's an imperial historian. They're not aligned with the realm per se, so they have more free reign on what to say and what to do.
Or maybe they are the ones we are interested in. We are looking at them because they're not.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but they exist and they're not persecuted like a Boric is, for instance, right? Like if Rise was in, Mountain Empire, he'd probably get thrown to jail.
No, I think Rise and Kellenwood would have a lot in common. Because no,
I mean, maybe actually, maybe.
I don't think Rise would have like objected to Kellenwood trying to change his age and all that. As I said, fine. I don't think he would have given a shit about historical accuracy and all that, unlike Heboric.
Yeah,
Kind of stuck up.
He does say he does, right? Like, he doesn't care about the details. He cares about the broad strokes.
Yeah.
About the currents
Oh,
of history,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a nice, huge monologue like that. Correct. Yeah.
So, an Emerald boy. We've already gone over when Trish tells her to not share her diva secrets.
What was that
Eventually she
secret? I
does.
think you told me it was something like
I think she just loses her faith at the end. And it's like
okay,
she plots with
crisis.
Santara and Rise to remove Draconus and basically turn Anamander against Draconus, which
Oh,
fails,
okay,
but
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
That one, yeah, sure, yeah.
And then, she goes to Mother Dark and says, well, you abandoned us. I'm like, no shit, I abandoned you, idiots. Well, no, she says, like, when I was calling you children, I was not being,
It was not a
it
yeah.
was not a
There
compliment.
is a reason why I call you children. I named you children, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I was not being
So,
complimentary. But, that's just.
so yeah,
As for Cedar Pool, we already went over how he's, like, just basically pretty shallow. He has a lot of convictions, a lot of, we must stand against these with blades drawn. Like, okay, but it's too late. Okay, we're just gonna, like, endlessly escalate into a realm of the Civil War, which is exactly what happens, by the way. It's like what ends up happening is because sorcery gets into play, and
yeah.
like Cedar Pool, and then just have sorcery, and then like Hunra has sorcery, and then they just annihilate one another. And
I don't
interestingly enough,
remember.
the only person who puts an end to this collection is Anamander, because Kaladin's like, well, I could annihilate all of these, but if I do, Trace is gonna show up and annihilate all of us. Like, do you want me
Oh,
to? Like, no, it's fine. So yeah, eventually Anamander goes wise. Congratulations, brother. But Cedarpool doesn't. I don't even remember if Cedarpool lives at the end of Full of Light. But the point is, like, he preaches escalation of, we're just gonna fight them on our own terms. But that's gonna keep escalating the situation, keep getting worse, and people keep dying. And like, okay, well, too little, too late by now, brother. And then you have Endest, who isn't that important yet.
yeah.
But he does eventually, start getting visions from Anesthea. He starts bleeding, and like
Yeah.
Mother Dark sees through him,
True.
and all of that, which I have no idea what that is about. I don't remember.
We'll find out. Yeah. This
But we'll
time you
find out.
have
Yeah.
a physical copy of Fall of Light, right? You're not doing the audiobook again,
You can't say it.
right?
It's behind me.
No,
But
you're
yeah,
not going to do the audiobook.
No, I'm not going to do the audio. I might do it for some scenes because like some scenes are interesting, like the end
Oh,
of Full of Light,
Hanako. I
honestly.
know it's yeah.
Or Hanako, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh, is that the way it's said? I have to listen to that. Yeah.
Oh, Hanako, yeah. Hanako of the Scars. I do not know what the fuck Hanako's point is, by the way. I do not know what like any of that is about. Like, I guess the overarching theme is love, but no clue.
We'll find out.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
get all
find
the
out. It's not really
answers.
relevant to the situation now. But other than that, God, I mean, Korea exists.
Poor Korea.
Literally all of Korea can just be summed up as like she exists, and then like you can just say so much more about her.
Yeah, but I don't remember much about what happens later on. It's sort of she is something with the dog runners. She meets a boy
Yeah.
and then ignores Sarathan. And
So
that's
basically,
it.
Korea's entire arc in Draconus is just like getting to the Lord of Fate and just staying there, which incidentally is the same. The same is true of Arathon.
Yeah.
And obviously they're paralleling one another. Duh, it's pretty obvious, but their arc just kind of abruptly stops there. It's like, okay, they got to the Jaghut encampment where Hood is going to wage war on death, and then just stops. They go nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, they visit Azath house, they talk and think a lot, they like interact with all the different people who are there, but they don't go anywhere.
We'll find out. Maybe they still have.
Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah. Other than that, nothing else comes to mind immediately. I mean, there's a lot more, but they don't come to mind immediately. So
Yeah. I mean, we took 1 hour per chapter for this week, so I don't think we have much left over here.
They are long chapters, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I could just go on here telling you about how hilarious the Jaghut are, but you know that much.
You know it.
And right, there was something I wanted to bring up, but I forgot. Oh, it's a bit late now. So
that's fine.
Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So,
was it
at some point, when Hound is up on the roof because Varanus bored him to death, right?
Yeah.
And whatnot, he brings up anarchy versus civilization.
Oh yeah.
And how the Jaghut fought on the third way.
Yeah.
And hang on, let me find a quote because this is pretty interesting for me.
It was interesting.
Crap. Where's it? Hold up. God damn it. Yeah, there it is. So Varanda speaks. We, the Jaghut, were convinced of the inherent madness of codified iniquity. Here. All cooperation involves some measure of surrender and coercion, which is what Cash said.
Who's Cash?
Cash. Sorry. Cash.
No, Cash. Only shorten it. Cash is fine. Plus, yeah, here. Yeah, go.
Yeah, but the alternative, being anarchy, is itself no worthy virtue. It is but an excuse for selfish aggression, and all that seeks justification from taking that stance is, each and every time, cold-hearted. Anarchists live in fear and long for death, because they despair of seeing in others the very virtues they lack in themselves. In that manner, they take pleasure in sowing destruction, if only to match their inner landscape of ruin. We rejected civilization, but so too we rejected anarchy for its petty belligerence and the weakness of thought it announced. By these decisions, we made ourselves lost and bereft of purpose.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about here is, it is a great quote, but I have seen more than one post on the sub about Erickson not understanding what anarchy is. Varandus is not referring to the political ideology of anarchism. He's not talking about any of that. What he talks about is what a certain someone, a lot of certain someones would call the state of nature, which is how people, men, women, children, people, Homo sapiens, would behave before the onset of civilization. You have basically two polar opposites. You have Jean-Jacques Rousseau and his Noble Savage, which you may have heard as a literary trope. He made it literal, before there was civilization, people were, because there was like some objective morality that people inherently understood.
So we are back, and we have had too many technical difficulties today. So what shall we say?
Talking about, to wrap up the thought process really quick, we have like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We want to wrap this up. So, we were talking about Varandas and his thoughts on anarchy and whatnot. Basically, in political philosophy, you have this trope of the noble savage, and what is known as the state of nature, which is what is basically how Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens, whoever it was before the onset of civilization. And so that state of nature is what Varandas describes as anarchy here. He takes a very Hobbesian view, which is like Hobbes said that the state of nature of man is war of all against all. It's just a free-for-all. Everyone's killing one another. Like, there's no morals, there's no nothing, none of that. Okay, to be fair, Hobbes used as a justification for absolute monarchy, but whatever, we're not going to get into that now. But Varandas is like, no, we're just, screw that. That's stupid. We don't like that one. But we also don't like the idea of, killing each other constantly. So we're just going to take a third way, which is just neither of those things. So what are we going to do? I don't know. It left us bereft and lost. So that's when Gothos comes in and says, you know what, guys, it's fine. I'm going to handle this. I've got this. And he becomes Lord of Hate and takes on their hate and everything and gives them purpose. So in that sense, it's even more interesting, but I don't think it's the right decision per se, but it is a courageous decision, and it's one I can definitely respect. So that is all I have to say in Gothos for the moment, because it's just one chapter. So we'll save that for later. And unless Maura has anything to add, do you have anything to add?
I particularly no, but we have gone through this like over and over. So yeah. All right. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for watching.
And thank you for your time, Lee.
Thank you, Maura.
Just give me a minute. I just connected.
It is still recording, though.
I think it's recording mine too, but let's just see.
By the way, I should note, I don't necessarily agree with what I'm putting forth.
We are arguing for the sake of arguing. It's fine.
So, I'm just putting forth arguments.